Donald Trump delivered a speech in Florida, and I have some clips from that to show you. First, this is something we've heard from pro-Trump people recently. He's taking credit for the fact that FEMA is assisting in the East Palestine, Ohio disaster. Of course, a train derailment holding toxic chemicals in East Palestine, Ohio. We've discussed it. Important ramifications there. And Trump is taking credit for the response.
But they weren't going to get anything from FEMA. They weren't going to get anything from anybody. And then I announced I'm going. And FEMA said, oh, we'll give you whatever you want. Everybody's throwing it at them now. And you know what? I'm happy about that. That's good. We're going to go on Wednesday. But as soon as we announced we were going, the money started rolling in.
So because Trump's visiting East Palestine, Ohio, FEMA decided to send extra resources. Why would that be a motivator for them? The only thing that was holding all of the possible responses that could be occurring from FEMA in relation to East Palestine, Ohio, was the Republican governor not declaring it a state of emergency or a disaster, one of those two that would then enable FEMA, based on their protocol, to give all of the resources necessary based on that identification. So another example of Trump just taking credit for anything good, as he likes to do. Then, and this is a really fun part of the speech, he starts to target Ron DeSantis, or as he calls him, Ron DeSanctimonious.
Even take this crowd. You know, Ron DeSanctimonious had a crowd in Staten Island today. 139 people in Staten Island. We got a lot of people. We have 139 times about 30. We got a lot of people here. But I always say, hit your enemy a little bit early. Some people say don't, but I say do. Even take this crowd.
So identifying Ron DeSantis as the enemy. Very interesting. That's what we want to see. We want to see the fight begin between Trump and DeSantis. And it does seem increasingly that DeSantis is working towards a presidential announcement. Different reporting came out over the last few months. Kind of, he was thinking and then he wasn't, and then he was. And lately, based on his rhetoric publicly, it seems that's something he wants to do in this election cycle. And if he does, it's going to be quite the primary and fun to witness for sure. Then you get to another example of him going after DeSantis.
Well, and I never mentioned this because I don't like hitting Republicans. I really don't. But I did get 1.2 million more votes than Ron. 1.2 million more votes. Nobody wants to mention. The press refuses to mention it. We'll have to talk to our Club 47 people about this. They don't want to mention good things. No, I got 1.2 million votes more than Ron. And Ron did good in Florida, but I did great. Well,
all right. And I do think that's kind of pushing back his attempt of pushing back against the narrative that DeSantis is a winner, Trump's a loser, because Trump had a very negative effect, it seemed, on the 2018 midterms, and then the 2020 election he lost, and the 2022 midterms he seemed to have a very negative effect on. So a big loser. And DeSantis is trying to kind of portray himself to be the Trump without the baggage and is able to win. And so Trump's kind of pushing back against that there. And then getting to, do you guys remember whenever he cited during a press conference with Putin over the intelligence community, saying, well, Putin, said this, so I believe him. And he's referencing that in this moment.
These idiots back there would say, he's very close to Putin. Remember when they hit me with the question, who do you trust? Your intelligence people in the United States. They're not intelligent. Your intelligence people. Comey, McCabe, Strzok, Lisa Page. How about Lisa? Or Putin. And I said, that could be the toughest question I've ever been asked as a politician. These idiots.
Really shouldn't be that tough of a question. I'm not saying you have to always believe the intelligence community, but even just in a very simple sense, who has in that situation the greatest motivation to lie? Your entire intelligence apparatus telling you that the Russian government did indeed interfere in the election, or Putin, the one who would be doing the interfering, who would be more likely to lie in that situation. But he chose to go with Putin there. And then we get to a claim we've heard so much from him that just absolutely has no substance to it, that he could end the Ukraine war, the Russia-Ukraine war, Russian invasion of Ukraine in one day.
Almost every single power plant in Ukraine has been destroyed because Russia wins wars with the cold. They beat Napoleon with the cold. They beat Hitler with the cold. That's how they win. And that's what they're doing now. They're knocking out all the power plants and people are freezing to death. And it's a very bad thing. I could settle that in one day. As president, you need the power of that office. But you need to have shtekel. Almost every single power plant.
Yeah, so, and I could also end world hunger in a day if I was president, or cause everyone to be eternally happy for one day if I was president. What's the proof? What are you saying that you would do differently? What is so simple that you could bring that in 24 hours you could cause Putin to change course on something he's planned for years? And a belief that he's held for so long? What would just magically cause this to come to an end? Of course, he can't provide those specifics because he doesn't have them. And then I actually kind of agree with what he says here, in a sense.
A lot of people are right now auditioning. You know that a lot of people that are running at 1%, 2%, 3%, no percent. We have a couple that are joining. They're at no percent. I say, I wonder what they're doing. I think they're auditioning right now for vice president.
Yeah, so I disagree that they're auctioning, but I agree that someone like Nikki Haley may be auditioning to be a vice presidential candidate. Because when asked, where do you disagree with Trump? Why would you be a better candidate than Trump? Why are you the best option within the primary? Right now, there's only two options in the GOP primary, Trump and you. Nikki Haley goes, oh, I don't kick sideways, I kick forward. Okay. Or I'm of a younger generation. So not really identifying why she would be a better candidate than Trump. And the speculation from some is that that's because she's trying to leave her options open to be Trump's VP choice or running mate choice. And so there, he's kind of right, I think. But overall, just another strange speech from Trump. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to be a part of what makes this show possible, plus get access to the full video version of the show hours before all the clips are uploaded to YouTube, plus get the full bonus show every single Saturday, you can do so by going to patreon.com/Luke Beasley. That's patreon.com/Luke Beasley. Link in the description.